in the depletion of natural resources. In the state of this world, it has often been said by many scientists, it will take much time to apply the devices that are needed to restore the planet. Just as it will take much skill for you to build these abilities, if 100,000 people started today, did every day, yes, in a year it could be done. But this is a decade-long project. Now, the beauty and the hope is that after a decade, the number of people will be able to achieve this goal, and practically any goal that they collectively pool their continued efforts into. You as an individual may not care about the collective. You may just wish to heal yourself and heal others. You may wish deep down for fame and fortune. You may wish for streamlined success. You may wish for psychic abilities. You may wish to not need to eat and be able to live off chi, ki, prana, universal source energy. You may wish to channel. You may have any other wish, and I honor your wish, and I encourage you to pursue it. The purpose of this channeling is to not just motivate you, but to paint a clear picture that any path for magic that you choose to take and dedicate to, you will see progress in. Your frustration with the pace and growth of magic in your life, and your longing for magic at the scale and scope of the fantasies that you see on the screen, in the books, on the comics, child's play. You're an adult. This is not the Matrix for most of us in the classical 1999 movie sense, where you plug something in and you know it instantly. This is this world and this time. And you know, because you are in this body, here to learn these lessons. If you're going to learn a skill, if you are determined to learn a skill in this lifetime, if you see yourself doing it, if you know it will happen, invest the time. David wants me to stop spending time on this topic. He feels I should move on. He wants us to look at the agenda. That is not going to happen. The value of staying on a topic, the value of surrendering your ego's desires, the value of staying tuned in, the value of understanding that it takes that consistent effort does not mean later, does not mean tomorrow, does not mean when it's convenient and when it feels good. The value of staying consistent with your practice, with your commitment to yourself, with your integrity to your path and your plan before, during, and after this life. The value of that is the simple existence of persistence. If you said, I would love to create a planet, I would love to create a perfect world, and you snap your fingers and it's there. If you were not consistently exuding effort, that world would disappear in the next snap. There might be somebody or something who wouldn't want it there. There might be your attention shifting away to a pretty flower or a shiny squirrel or life like a video game or a paradise or a fantasy or whatever you think. To continuously manifest and engineer and direct a world, this is not just an automatic process. You could look at basic physics and say chain of cause and effect, but that is not what this world is and how this world sustains. There's a constant flow of energy going into this world and this planet. And yes, being generated from it. As a human being, you are taking in air and you are expelling air. Similar. Now to continue and to shift. Those of you who wish to desire to levitate, a lot of this has come in. This is a flashy magic topic that has come in so often, so let's talk about it in a serious sense. I think in terms of maturity, there is not a purpose for you to consider the value of levitation versus instant healing. You know, if you could only invest time in one area, healing people instantly probably has a lot of value. Being able to levitate has a different type of value. And this is not flying, this is floating above the ground. If you wish to see flying, if you wish to float above the ground more than anything else, there is no reason that does not have to be excluded. But when you think of that, or any example that resonates deeply and truly with you on the continuum of extremely awesome magic, simply consider, and yes, Thoth can say awesome, this is resonating with culture at its time. So think of the skill that is required to have such a deep knowing of reality that you can just take gravity out of the equation for a segment of space and time. That is a very high level of knowing. At that level of knowing, likely you will awaken and unlock other abilities and other understandings. You may unlock certain understandings that certain people need to see you doing that activity because that's what they need to spark their certainty that the spiritual is real. Yet you may also realize that The reason this is not done on live television, except fakers and charlatans, is because red pilling the world is not ready for that forced shift. Something undeniable, like gigantic extraterrestrial ships visible in every light spectrum on every single major city in the world for 24 hours in full view. That is significant, that is shocking, that is undeniable. So if you hear of a monastery, Tibetan Buddhist for example, where masters levitate and those who have taken lifetime vows witness it, and you meet somebody, as David has, who has alluded to without saying directly, so as far as vows go, that person has their own situation on their hands, but where it's said that that individual saw levitation happen, or again, any example you call for, you wish for, as inspiration of it is possible. What could that do for the rare individual who hears of it and believes in it? Is that rareness valuable? Does that make sense? Does every person in the world need to be a master painter, a master heart surgeon? No, not every person needs to be a master magician. Not every person is meant to be. 100,000, 500,000, 100 million people is but a fraction of the people in this world. You may wish to be surrounded with those who are awakened, who are deeply spiritual. That is beautiful. But a desire, a craving to show off, to convince, to change others? Why? What is so wrong about others that they must change for you? What selfishness exists in your system? What lack of feeling safe exists within your system, which may require these things? Now, as you consider shining light onto those, what you would call wounds, consider that this is not about focusing on the wound to expand it, but rather to illuminate it, to see where it may come from, to see if it is ready to be released, to forgive it for the pain and suffering it may have caused you, to forgive yourself for giving excuses for not processing this energy sooner, and eventually to feel grateful, because for the stimulus that wound gave you, there was a response in your life. And now with the stimulus, this narcissism removed, if you have chosen to and acted to remove it, while you can feel grateful for that skill, your motivation must now come from somewhere else. Your motivation when you remove the wound must come from your core and your soul. They must be aligned. And this is why we hold ourselves back. We are scared of our essence. We in humanity, and those of us watching and supporting humanity, even us, there is a fear of being completely destroyed by the absolute, of ego completely disappearing. This is an ego speaking with you. It has a voice, it has a gender, it has a face, a name, and a history. Krishna's yes and no, as mentioned before. So for you to lose your ego, lose yourself, step willingly into death of one component of your being and lose that part of yourself that is wounded, that is motivated by, defined by the wound, requires a death. Now this is not dark magic, this is not invoking Anubis, this is not anything along the sort. This is simply a transmutation. This is a meaning of one part leaving and another part coming in. Now the part of you that laid excrement in its pants is dead. In this analogy, that part is gone. You likely use a toilet. And if you don't use a toilet, likely that is not by choice. The part of you that is able to speak a language is different from the part of you that could not. That part, you could say, is dead. The part of you that is more mature is alive. The part of you that is less mature from however many years ago, 5, 10, 15, 20, is dead. Yes, you can say technically lives on in you and your memories. You could say any part you release, you may still feel a part of. Any person in your life who has left their body is always with you. Philosophically, metaphorically, yes, but in your programmed neuron behavior, personality, pattern of structure, we are talking about what is active and what is alive, what is growing, what is changing, what is consciously used, what is supporting you. Not just a memory you can access, while that memory can support you, but something active present in here.